Hello, this is a reference video for iSafety Zone, and this video it's a reference guide to be able to help you with bulk importing all your products into Shopify, and to be able to make it easier for you to add multiple products at one time instead of having to add them one at a time, which is very difficult and very tedious to do. So what I'm going to be going over is basically how the format of the CSV file should look like for Shopify. Shopify has a very specific way that it wants the files to be configured. So I'll go over how to do that, and I'm going to go over how Shopify uses the handle of a product to distinguish within different items within different rows of data. I'm going to go over the HTML tagging that we've been using to properly display items on the website and just give it a nice, more enhanced look. We'll talk about variants. Different items have within itself variations of the items. So we'll go over just how you would distinguish between color and size and different attributes that make a product different within itself. And then we'll go over how to properly tag items. It's very important to tag products on your website, especially on Shopify, to be able to let the user be able to find the item they're looking for easier. As David talked about when we first started this project, and he wanted to make sure that where the user of the website will be able to find the item looking for within 2 to 3 clicks. And then finally, we'll go over the process of uploading images into Shopify and to be able to display them within the website. So right now, within I'm on the iSafety Zone website, and I'm within the products page, and this is where we've been uploading products. And right now, all the eyewear we have for 3A safety, the vendor 3A safety, it's right here, except for one particular item, which is I believe is the Courage line, and it's not in here right now, so I'll go ahead and type that in right now, and I'm going to go over how to add that in. Basically, for now, it's not in there right now, and what I've been using to basically get all the eyewear inputted into Shopify. Thankfully, I found I found the catalog online. So here's the Courage eyewear, and according to the catalog, there's 4 variants of this particular item of the Courage eyewear. Again, we have to create the CSV file to import this, and then I'll give an example how to do this very quickly. So I'll pull up an example file right now. So here's how Shopify wants everything to be configured. The very first column normally is a handle, which is right here, and then you got your title. The body HTML, this is where the description of your item will be, and it has to be has to include the HTML tags. That way, it can be properly displayed on the website. And I mean, you can easily put in your own text and not add any tags whatsoever, and Shopify will add them automatically. But again, you're not going to get the look you want or the feel you want. So it's very crucial, or it's very useful to make sure that you yourself tag it in your way to make sure that it looks very clean and very professional. Again, you add your vendor right here, your type. Now, within your type and your tags and collection, all this across the board, you want to make sure your taxonomy, it's very consistent. So right before out the back, you got to make sure that whatever whatever categories or subcategories you use, make sure that's very consistent, and you keep it very generalized to begin with, and then you just keep a very consistent way of distinguishing items, because it can get very confusing when you're tagging items and you're creating tags on the spot. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you have a plan going into it, and you know exactly what tags you're going to be using to find particular items. Okay, and then the publish column is just it's a true or false option. Basically, it's going to ask if you want to publish the item online or not. If you want to, you can keep that false, or you can set it to true. And then the options. The first option, when it comes to Shopify, Shopify allows for up to 3 options to be distinguished. And for this particular case, we're gonna use length color, and we're gonna use frame color, and we're not gonna use option 3 at all. And then you got your variant SKU. Every item has to have its own SKU to distinguish it, and the grams. Varying grams when it comes to Shopify. Shopify does not need any. It's very important you don't keep this column empty. You gotta make sure you enter something. So you gotta hopefully you get that information from your vendor. But as far as like the weight of your item, has to be in grams measurement. It can't be in pounds. So if you everything comes to you in pounds, yeah, you gotta find a way to convert it to grams. And then your inventory, just what inventory you have on hand. I mean, that depends on you, how you want. If you have inventory software that you use to keep track of inventory, and you input the updated inventory in there daily. Let's see. I'm not sure what inventory policy is or fulfillment, but we haven't really been using those. Varying price, of course, it's got to be priced properly. Compare at price, we haven't been using that column at all. Requires shipping, and we haven't really been using that neither. Taxable barcode, I mean, that stuff, it's we haven't been using at all. But again, it's probably more, it's more at your level what we need to be using. And then image source, this is where you're going to be uploading the URL for the images right here, and we'll go over how to do that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is start creating the handles for this particular item, the Courage Eyewear. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it 3A safety Courage protective eyewear. Now, if you notice that I'm putting a dash between each word, is because that's what Shopify requires on the handle. You cannot have any empty spaces in the handle, so you got to make sure that you put a space on there, because what Shopify does, it uses the handle to create the URL for the particular item. So that's why I'm doing that. And then when it comes to the handle itself, depending how many items you have, in this particular case I have 4 variants. I'm going to go ahead and create 4 handles. We're all with the same exact name, so it's got to be the exact same text for every single variant. Okay. Now, the title. I'm going to go ahead and to create the title, I'm going to go ahead and use the proper function. And what that does, it basically puts everything in a proper and properly worded format. You know, whether it be uppercase or lowercase, and it does it for me automatically, and that way it shows up nicely right on my my title. So I'm going to go ahead and use do that, and then what I'm going to do in the next column, I'm going to go ahead and use a substitute function that we've been using. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be taking off the dashes between every word, because you don't need the dashes in the title. So the first argument is basically the cell you're going to be referencing. The alt text that you're looking for is, you got to put it in quotes. I'm looking for dashes, and you're going to be replacing it with spaces. Quotation, space, quotation, and I'm going to go ahead and close that. So now it basically replaces everything, gives it a nice title without any dashes. Okay, and then to take off the reference, I'm going to go ahead and copy it and paste it, only its values. Paste special values. That way it can lose the reference. I can delete that column. Delete. So the next thing I'm going to do is create the body for it. And now when it comes to the body, it only requires it on the first variant of the product. So in this case, I'm only going to need to put it here, and I'm going to grab the information from here. So first thing I'm going to grab is this right here, this wording, and I'm going to go ahead and copy it onto the cell, and I'm going to go ahead and use the p tag for HTML. That way it can be displayed properly on the website. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to press Alt Enter, and then what I'm going to do right here is put a break tag right here, because that's how HTML distinguishes spaces, or a new line. Control Enter, and then what I'm going to do is grab this information right here, copy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it. The issue with these bullet points that it won't be read by Shopify, or so I gotta create the proper. I gotta create an unordered list for this particular. So I'm gonna go ahead and create an unordered list. So, which is UL, and then to create the bullet points, you need to basically tag it with an LI for every, and copy, and then you gotta also create, put in the closing LI tag for each one. So I'm going to go ahead and cheat and go ahead and put it in for each one. Paste, paste, paste. Go ahead and close it. I'm going to go ahead and close that one too. And then finally, Alt Enter, and I'm going to go ahead and put in the closing UL tag. Okay, so now I'm going to have a properly placed I'm going to have an unordered list here with the proper bullet points, just like right here it has it on the catalog. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and create these. I'm going to create what's called it's basically called a frame. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, and it looks like I'm going to go and create another break tag here. And then it looks like the map black frame wording is looks like it's bolded, so the tag for that is called strong. I'm going to create the opening and closing strong tags. And then here I have to create the frame. I'm going to create like basically a table basically. So the way you do that is TR. Let me see how I did that earlier. I kind of forgot. I'm going to go and pull up my other file that I have already saved. Okay, I'm back. What I'm going to do here is create a table, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and press Control Alt Enter and enter the table tag, and then I have to basically style it a little bit, just for my own reference. So I'm going to give it a width of 300 pixels. Again, I'm not sure this really matters. But this is the way I've been doing it as of late, so that way it's properly I have no issues as far as the way it's aligned on the website. Aligned center, border 0, quotation mark 0. Okay, and then Control Alt, and then I have to create the table rows. TR, TH. These are basically the headers, which this is going to be the SKU, which I'm going to bold it. Looks like I'm running out of time here, so I got to be a little quicker on this.